The Sun today demands the government flies the Cross of St. George up and down Whitehall to back England's World Cup bid. The nation's favourite paper joins forces with a patriotic MP to issue the call to send Harry Kane's men the strongest possible message of support. The Sun calls on the government to throw their support behind Harry Kane's World Cup heroes by flying England's Cross of St. George as soon as the competition's knockout games begin next week. We want the red and white emblem to be flown with pride in the heart of the capital for as long as the team stays in it. The idea is the brainchild of former Tory Minister Nick Boles, who has long argued for England to embrace its national flag more. Local town halls across the country should also join in, as well as courthouses, police stations, and even churches, Mr. Boles argues. Strict protocol rules govern what flags can be flown from dozens of government buildings across Westminster. News Group Newspapers Limited Tory MP Nick Boles says everyone in England, regardless of race or religion, can be proud of Harry Kane and the success of his teammates. The Sun calls on the government to fly our St. George's Cross in the heart of London to support our Three Lions. Government should support the England team by flying the St. George's Cross. Click here to sign the petition. They are usually all adorned with the Union flag. But officials admitted that Prime Minister Theresa May can overrule them, and sign off England's Cross of St. George for them all with a stroke of her pen. Writing for The Sun, Mr. Boles argues that the elite seem to be embarrassed about Englishness and mock patriots who embrace the national flag. The MP for Grantham added, "We don't celebrate England, and being English, enough." Theresa May can overrule strict protocol which dictates what flags can be flown from government buildings. The Scottish aren't embarrassed about their nation, or their flag. Far from it. We now have a chance to shake off this embarrassment. In every city and town, let's see the red and white colours of England flying from courthouses, police stations, town halls, even churches. Issuing his again court-style battle cry, Mr. Boles went on, like Sun readers, "I am intensely proud of being English." We should follow in the footsteps of these patriotic residents who covered their entire estate with more than 300 England flags. By Nick Boles, Tory MP. We don't celebrate England, and being English, enough. The Scottish aren't embarrassed about their nation, or their flag. Far from it. You can't move in Edinburgh or Glasgow without seeing a blue and white saltire flapping in the wind. But the English ruling classes seem to be embarrassed about Englishness. Labour's Emily Thornberry spoke for many in the left wing is linked to elite when she turned up her nose at the patriotism of a white van driver in Rochester whose house was festooned in St. George's flags. We now have a chance to shake off this embarrassment. Everyone in England, of every race and religion and background, can be proud of the success of Harry Kane and his teammates in the group games of the World Cup. We should now come together as a country and show that we are rooting for them in the playoffs. I am launching a petition calling on the Prime Minister to lead the way by asking all government offices to fly the St. George's flag next week and for as long as the England team remains a contender in Russia. In every city and town, let's see the red and white colours of England flying from courthouses, police stations, town halls, even churches. And if, by some miracle, football finally does come home and we win the World Cup, Let's make St. George's Day a bank holiday in England. After all, St. Andrew's Day already is a bank holiday in Scotland. Like most Sun readers, I am intensely proud of being English. As someone once said, to be born English is to win the lottery of life. Let's unite behind our boys in Russia and cry God for Harry, England and St. George. As someone once said, to be born English is to win the lottery of life. Let's unite behind our boys in Russia and cry God for Harry, England and St. George. Mr. Bowles also set up a petition for all Sun readers to sign to urge Mrs. May to order the Cross of St. George to fly from Monday, July 1st onwards. Many ministry buildings are this week bearing the Armed Forces Day flag from their poles, to mark the annual day of celebration for the military, which falls on Saturday, June 30th. Tory MP Nick Bowles has joined forces with the Sun to urge Theresa May to cover Westminster in our red and white emblem for Harry Kane's World Cup. Here, as government should support the England team by flying the St. George's Cross. Click here to sign the petition. Mr. Bowles is also calling for St. George's Day on April 23rd to be made a permanent bank holiday in England if Kane's team do win the World Cup, as St. Andrew's Day is in Scotland. Despite World Cup fever sweeping the nation, the government admitted it has no plans to fly any England flags from any official buildings. Responsibility for all government pageantry lies with the Department for Digital, Culture, Media, and Sport. A spokesman for the ministry said, "No decision has been made yet on whether to fly England flags on government buildings during the World Cup. We don't only want a flag flying at Downing Street, but across all public buildings in England. The matter is not under discussion at the moment." Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson risked angering England fans yesterday by seeming to play down the team's chances. Asked in the Commons what advice he would give to fans flying out to back our boys in Russia, Mr. Johnson responded, "Not to let their hopes get away with them." But Tory MP Scott Mann was more confident, telling the Foreign Secretary, "Clearly football's coming home." Patriotic Nick Bowles is calling for St. George's Day to be made a bank holiday in England if Kane's boys win the World Cup. Maradona rushed to hospital after nearly collapsing following RG win. Maradona swears at crowd as RGs sneak through with late winner versus Nigeria. Maradona shows off moves ahead of Nigeria game before Dracula celebration. Maradona close to collapse as he is helped from stands after crazed celebrations. England wags prepare for Belgium with glamorous pre-match meal. World Cup hotel in Rostov evacuated as police and emergency services swarm. Downing Street was more upbeat, but also cautious. The PM's official spokesman said, "We take it one game at a time. We have been playing very well and hope that good performance continues." Click here to sign the petition. With England's Harry Kane topping the World Cup goal-scoring charts, we profile the leading scorers of the tournament so far.